You are listening to the Your Empty Nest Coach podcast. Christine? Yes, Christine? You know, with the social distancing implemented due to COVID-19, that your listeners may not be in an empty nest right now. And they may be struggling with an unexpected full nest. I mean, listen to that racket in the kitchen. Ooh, you're right about that. You are listening to the Not So Empty Nest podcast with Coach Christine. Is that better? I think at least for the near future, it might be a good call. Sounds like a plan. Before we get started, please remember that you may leave me audio feedback at any time through my SpeakPipe link or Google Voice number. If you find yourself wanting to offer advice to my listeners or talking back to me during the episode, I invite you to submit your thoughts there. You'll find the links to do this in the description of the episode. On Apple Podcasts, click Details. On Spotify, click See More. On Overcast, press the I for Information button. Get the idea? Of course, I always have full show notes with links to anything I discuss in this episode on my website. I can't wait to hear from you. Hello, my wonderful listener. I'm continuing my Not So Empty Nest series today with a special guest, Carolyn Cohen, or Coach Carolyn. Carolyn is a health coach and the host of Wellness While Walking podcast, where she chats in your ear about wellness while you do a 30-minute walk as you listen to her podcast. Isn't that great? I love this. Full disclosure, Carolyn is more than a few years away from entering the empty nest, but here's the thing. We all have friends and family members at different points in their life, and getting to know Carolyn on Instagram, I wanted you to meet her here. My only apology is that it took COVID-19 restrictions for that to happen. Sorry, Carolyn. Carolyn, thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Christine. It's a definite bright spot in my week.
Oh, that's nice to hear. So can you share with us what you are experiencing, you and your family, due to the COVID-19 restrictions?
Absolutely. I have 4 kids. They're a total of 8 years apart. My oldest is a college graduate, and she's got a job across the country from us, so she's staying put. Then I have 2 kids who are in college and a high school junior. And the 2 kids who are in college are now home. I think they're coming to terms with it, but certainly, was rough at the beginning because they just, they were sort of quickly shuttled out of their school situation right back here. And, neither one was particularly happy to be here. So it was a little bit of an adjustment. Plus, my husband kind of has his home base here for work, but travels a lot ordinarily. So suddenly I went from having, a high school junior who pretty much lives on her bed to having a lot of people around and about. So it's a big change for us.
It is a big change. That's a lot of people. Do you have pets in the mix too?
We also have a dog, and I like the thing that keeps me laughing the most are all the dog memes, because we're just we need to get out. We're going to go for a walk. We'll take the dog. And the dog is like, I went on a walk already. I'm good.
You know what's funny is we have a cat, and our cat normally does not want to go outside. And now that we're all home, he's meowing at the door, let me out of this house.
It's the funniest thing. I think really they definitely sense something different. And I definitely worry about my dog, when this is all over and we're gone all the time, because he's so used to our being there for better or for worse. So
I think our cat will just sleep for 6 months straight. Thank goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad everyone's safe and healthy right now.
Yes,
for you.
Everybody is.
That's good to hear. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm trying to keep it that way.
Yeah. I'm asking my Insta family to share their social distancing daily check-ins, and I would love for you to share yours with us today. Are you willing?
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome. So actually, this is pretty early in the day, so yesterday works for you too. Okay. Tell me something that you have loved.
So many things, actually. I really have reconnected with people that I haven't talked to or laid eyes on in a long time. So yesterday I got to catch up with an old friend, and we FaceTimed, and it was so great.
Oh, that's lovely. How about something you found surprising?
I'm a big walker. I love to walk. I get out daily, regardless of the weather. I've been sort of surprised that, I've seen a lot of families around our neighborhood, and that's been so awesome. But I've also seen people out walking in the bad weather, and usually I wouldn't really see anyone else. So I'm surprised that people are, I hear a lot of oh, I couldn't walk today because it was raining. And I'm not noticing that as much, which is awesome.
Oh, interesting. It's raining right here as you say that. So
yes,
we may have to escape the house later.
So funny. It makes a difference too, I find, the weather on how we all do that day, you know?
It really, yeah, it does. How about something that made you laugh or found funny?
Uh, well, I like I said, I have been enjoying all the memes and the pet memes, and like there was this one of a dog like on an upper bookshelf, like no more walks. So the memes have been awesome, I would say, and I've had a few just like spontaneous group chats with friends, and I know I've laughed till I cried, so that's been awesome.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I have actually laughed more. I think it's a lot of the pent up energy.
You know, I have to say, I am a very big fan of a Harvard Medical School doctor, and he was talking yesterday online about immunity, and literally the first thing he said was laugh. Like find a way to laugh. Like
Yes.
read something, watch videos, do whatever you need to do, but it boosts your immunity, which, you know, so it's not just like getting us through, it's actually making us healthier for when we do step out, you know, which will happen, and we do want to have our immunity built up.
I love that. Do you have like a go to I need to laugh thing that you watch or do if you need to
I
laugh?
love stand-up comedy, and there are a lot of great specials on right now. In fact, TV Guide just put out like the top Netflix stand-up comedy shows you should see, and like so I'm working my way through them. But definitely like an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm will do it for me.
Awesome. I've been finding Taskmaster, which is a Great Britain show.
Oh, I would love that.
They are releasing one episode a week on YouTube. So I think we're in season 4 or 5 that's on YouTube that we can watch. And then I end up rabbit trailing into Would I Lie to You and all these other shows with the comedians on those shows. And I always laugh. So funny.
It's so good. I mean, so, you know, that shouldn't even be a guilty pleasure. That just should be like,
No,
that's
it's
doctor's
become
orders. Yeah.
yeah, necessary. Every night I do that. It's great.
Good for you.
Do you feel like there's something you could use help with right now?
Well, I think I would love to hear how people are handling imposing schedules on their kids. You know, like I feel like I'm good, but I feel like they're kind of just free floating. Their classes are at random times, and I don't know. I would love to hear, and maybe it's, you know, other listeners, but if they have a way of chiming in on how they're helping their kids maybe establish a schedule, even when
Yes.
they might have been out of the house.
Yeah, that's a tough one. And what's really interesting is I don't know if you know, I'm a former homeschooling mom too.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times as parents, we'll have in our mind that school, whether it's college or high school, should look like it does in the school building. And it doesn't need to take as much time. So
Right.
just a fair warning that your kids probably are not going to have a really big routine. And their math may not take the hour class that it takes in school because there aren't distractions in class, that they don't have to move from place to place. So don't be surprised if things take a lot less time.
Right. I do remember reading that, and that is helpful. And even my high schooler, her classes aren't as long as they normally are. So that's good. I mean, I think they all, you know, it just, even if they're learning a little less, like I think they can't sit there for that long. You know, they need to.
It's a lot.
change it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's funny how much you can get done when you're home. It's kind of like working. I don't know. My day job, I feel so much more productive at home with the lack of distractions. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. No, it's a good perspective. I was just hoping maybe we definitely eat dinner together, but even like eating lunch at approximately the same time would help me. So,
That would be fun.
Yeah.
I think you answered your own question. You should try it.
Yeah. No, go for the lunch together thing. Yeah,
I love
think
that.
good.
That's awesome. Okay. And listeners, if you have ideas for Carolyn, please send them in and you can either email me and I'll make sure they get to her, or leave audio feedback. That would be great.
Thank you.
And Carolyn, do you feel you're fairly peaceful, what I call the CEO of your life? Or do you feel like you're kind of not at all, which I call the protectors taking over your life? How do you feel right now?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty much on the sliding scale. I'm pretty much to the right. I feel like I actually think it's a good time for, you know, becoming the CEO of your life, because, you know, it's a great time to kind of settle into, you know, what's important and be curious. So I'm feeling pretty good, I have to say. I mean, I feel like I've had some realizations about myself, which are interesting. And I don't know. I do feel like things are good. I mean, I try not to look too far ahead in the future, but for right now,
yeah,
things are, I feel pretty much at peace.
It's so good.
Yeah.
That makes me happy. It's nice to hear someone else say it too, because I find this is a really good time to level up and just work on everything about yourself.
Yeah.
Which we always say we don't have time to do.
Exactly. I mean, we just freed up a lot of time. So I think, now's a great chance.
It really is. Thanks for sharing all that with us. I appreciate it. So I invite you now to share anything with my listeners, a quote, something you love, a life lesson, or a message. Is there anything you'd like to share with them?
I mean, I just think that, people are laughing about memes having to do with like COVID or, like gaining weight while you're, in seclusion or what have you. I guess I would just ask people to look at it as building your immunity. And so when you do get back out, there's still going to be this virus around, right? Like it's not going away full stop, unfortunately. And I just think if you can position any changes you want to make or working on your fundamentals, if you can position them in your mind as building your immunity for when we're, more back to our normal lives, that might help make some good choices that you don't regret later. So, like the doctor said, laughing, that builds your immunity. Getting outside, sun and fresh air both. So even if it's not sunny, just was reading this amazing article. It had some photographs in it about the 1918 pandemic. The article talked a lot about Boston and the Boston hospitals and how they tested out keeping patients in the hospital or having them live in tents. And in the good weather, which was still cold, I mean, you could see the doctors and nurses in the photograph wearing overcoats. I mean, it was cold, but they would pull the patients out of the tents and just have them in fresh air, and they healed better. So I think the importance of getting outside and getting fresh air whenever we can, no matter, even if the weather isn't great and there is no sun, I mean, that really does boost our immunity and just makes you feel so much better. And so does moving your body. And one of the things that I talk about consistently in my podcast is that, everyone in this world tends to ratchet up everything. And then a bunch of us, and I'm raising my hand here, we see like that perfection or something unattainable. Like for me, that's minimalism. Like I can't, I'm not going to get there. But I could be more organized. So like, should I let the perfect be the enemy of the good? And I think that with exercise and with nutrition, it's the same thing. You see so many images and people are doing this and that. And like, I'm not going to be able to do that. So I don't do anything. And I think that science really is showing that moving our bodies moderately brings so many benefits. So that's why I focus on walking, because that's just a natural way to move. But really anything that you do naturally that moves your body makes you feel so much better and confers all these, other health benefits that are fantastic.
Oh, I love this so much. And I love walking.
It's so
walking,
great.
Like for me, it's mental health. I just love, there's something about being outside and trees. And I am drawn specifically, I don't know why, it probably means something somewhere, but branches in particular. I could walk and I will just stop and stare at branches. My daughter will be like, I know, Mom, you like branches.
That's so interesting. I mean, I can see that for sure. They're gorgeous and majestic.
Yeah, I just stare and I think, wow. And I watch the squirrels. It's such a great thing. I love it. And I can't see them unless I walk outside.
Right. No,
I mean, I can, but it's not the same.
No, I agree. I agree. And I do like being under branches and looking up at the sky. It's gorgeous. I mean, but noticing those little things, like just taking the time, it's almost like self-care, and it's so good for you to have gratitude. So if you notice those little things, and being on a walk and noticing things is, it's like multitasking. But finding the little things that are beautiful, it's actually considered a character strength. So something that makes, that really does contribute to our happiness. So that's just one little thing you can do, is just make yourself look for little things that you're grateful for or that you appreciate or you think are beautiful.
So great. Always. I love it. So where, other than your podcast, which I will link in the show notes for sure, and listener, if you need to go walking this week and you need some motivation, definitely check out Carolyn's podcast. She will chat with you as you do the walk. It's wonderful. So I will link to that. Is there any other best place to reach you online?
Yep. Right now, I have a website. It's called wellnesswhilewalking.com. But more often than hanging out over there, I'm on Instagram at Wellness While Walking. and on Facebook, just a regular page called Wellness While Walking as well. So
Awesome.
those places at the moment.
Awesome. Thanks for being here today, Carolyn. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for talking to me. It's been great. And I love your show and what you do. So
Oh, thanks.
keep it up for the rest of us. Yeah, especially at this time where things have turned on their heads a little bit.
It is a little different. Quite an adventure, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And hopefully we can find the good in it even when, they're not eating lunch at the same time.
It's okay. That's great. And to my listener, we both want to tell you that you are amazing. See ya. Thanks. Thank you. A huge shout out to every member of my GPS support flock. I invite you to fly on over to my website or see my show notes for a link to learn how you may become a GPS support flock member, where you will gain access to all of my programs, monthly workshops, group coaching, and more. See you there. My listeners, as always, no, that doesn't work. Good, I have bloopers for this one. Yay. And to my listener, we both want to tell you that you...
Oh, crap, sorry.
That's an even better blooper.
Feel free.
Love it.